Hey guys, and welcome back. I'm Silver, and welcome to Gaming in the Grove, and welcome back to Minecraft. As you can see, the shaders are turned off. I've actually went back to default Minecraft textures and everything. Not textures, but shaders, because I kind of wanted to do an experiment. I kind of wanted to show off what this mod looks like in normal Minecraft, but at the same time, it also kind of highlights how good the shaders make it look, but also how good this game can look in general. As you can see, I still have some of my windows and everything are still here. This entire building still looks really freaking cool, even without the shaders making the glass more see-through. So today's goal is pretty much, I want to finish the station as well as I want to expand the track. The other end of here is a dead end, and I want to expand that. So pretty much that's going to be our main hopes for today's goals, as well as I might extend this road a little bit. You'll see that more in time lapses, if anything. So the first thing I want to do is actually I want to check and make sure this locomotive is not going to blow up anything. No, there's no coal in there, so we're good. All right, so normally what I would do is I would take the little track rider down to the end of the line, but it's not going to fly. I'll see you there. And here we are. We've made it to the end of the line. This is essentially where the track has come to an end after a little bit of a curve there. It's about a 50 block curve. Actually, it's probably more like 100 because it's 50 and 50 put together. Anyway, I am planning to just keep going forward. My goal is, if I can get into the... There we are. So, the goal is to kind of go forward and push through this little bit of an area before turning and heading up north. Now, the next issue I'm going to have to deal with is essentially, do we go left and weave across this area here, or do we go up and curve into this valley? We'll have to essentially set up a area to have a large curve into here. I almost feel like weaving over and then crossing here would be a better option, but I think both could look really cool in the long run. Overall, this is us building a fantasy railroad. I feel like this actually kind of works. This kind of works. I kind of wish the turn was bigger, so I might actually end up cutting out some of it and making it bigger and still having a connective here, but don't worry about that now. We're just going to essentially try and go forward and dig our way into the mountains. So I'm going to keep doing about 10 each. I don't know if they fully fixed it, but there used to be an issue where if you would look a certain way and the track was a little bit too long, it would cause a rendering issue where the track would disappear. So my goal is to not at all have that be a possibility. I don't want anything like that. I want, if the track is there, I want the track to be there. Now, we are getting into a bit of a dangerous territory because there's animals over here. And animals mean that come time when the train's going through here, if they get on the track, that's how you make burgers. Anyway. I'm hoping that with this cut here, that what it will do is it will detract animals from wanting to cross. As you can see, a cut is just simply taking the ground of the landscape and making a V in it. That's the entire idea. If we had sharper hills on either side, I could do a bit of a V, and then what the next thing to do would probably be to essentially make like a wooden wall or something like that. Now, some rock is okay. But the issue with having full rock all the time in this section is it looks a little weird. even in real life, when they make cuts like this and the track is essentially laying on stone, they build it up with a bit of dirt underneath. Then they lay the track on top of the ballast, and essentially then there's a bit more of a kind of solid foundation. The idea is that when you're building track, you don't want to be on a unstable foundation. Because essentially, no matter what, no matter how light or how heavy you think the train going through there is, it's still several tons of metal going over these rails. And while the ties and the spikes keep it together, they still move, they still buckle, they still change. Over time, they will kind of no longer be exactly where they were originally. That's why it's advised that railroads replace their ties and spikes every few years. I've actually never built down in this mod, the Terra mod, so it's kind of interesting seeing that there's a bit of like a grass layer here. Sorry, not grass, a sand layer here. Like, I'm digging down and sure there was rock right there, but there's also like sand. I'm running into sand, which is something that can absolutely happen in real life. But it's just kind of curious to see it here, because I honestly, it's never been a thing that I've noticed in Minecraft World Generation, so that's kind of interesting. As night is setting and we have barely moved, like, look at that, we've maybe moved a few steps ahead. Not very much, but still, it's getting there. What's going to happen is I'm going to keep working through the night, and in the morning you guys can check back in with me and we'll see where we are. So, I'll see you in the morning. And good morning, everyone. It's now about 1 in Minecraft time. And we've done a lot. The construction crew has been able to extend very deep into this cut. We went from starting all the way back here. We got about maybe here before night. And in the night, I was able to extend it much more further into the cut. We're now multiple layers deep. And it's actually kind of interesting, as you can see where there's dirt, sand, and then the rock layers. Like, it really is easy to start seeing the layers as we keep pushing forward. But we're not to the area where I wanted to turn away yet. So we're pretty much just about there. And actually, it's getting to the point where I'm starting to think we might be able to build a tunnel under that little lip right there. It's going to be a small one, but I think we're going to end up having a tunnel. So I'm very curious to see how that goes. But instead of like constantly having you guys watch me, I'm just going to start doing a bit of a time lapse. Not too long, just a small short one to kind of show off the work I am actually doing here. So anyway, guys, I'll see you after this, I think, 10-15 second time lapse. Alright. Alright. And as you can see here, we have finally made it to that little bit of on the map. Finally made it over here. So we've went ahead and built all the way from over here, slowly worked our way, and now we're about to go through here, which is right before where we're going to make a turn to head north towards the bridge that will cross over the river and head for the next town. This little cut here has been, I thought of maybe making a tunnel, but now that we're here, I don't think it's going to get high enough to do that. Potentially, but the thing is, it's not really that high. So, let's go ahead and I'm going to build forward a little bit. Oh, goodness. Yeah, maybe it is. That's actually quite deep. I wasn't expecting that. Alright, so here's one way we're going to help clear this up a bit more. Interesting. So actually, what we can do is starting there, we can build a tunnel. Well, alright, we get our first tunnel. Alright. I wasn't expecting that. Alright, just gotta clean this all up, and yeah. Welcome to the first tunnel of this railroad. I don't know if I'll ever run it down this way, but let's make sure that the tallest passenger car I can think of would fit through here. The Superliner. Oh my goodness, it would. You're kidding me. I was starting to think it wouldn't. Absolutely it will. Alright, how about the tallest freight car I can think of? The auto rack. The auto rack or the Husky line. I wasn't gonna do modern through here, but now I'm like, should I? Okay. So, for the auto rack, it wants to go up one more. Honestly, I think those auto racks are like the tallest thing in the mod, so I'm gonna quickly do some landscaping around here on the edge. And then I'm going to go ahead and jump in with some... I'm gonna quickly go grab some items that I need for this. I need references because that was not something I was expecting to do today. So, give me 1 second. I'm gonna go get those references and then we'll get on building us a tunnel. Alright guys, so I went in and got my references, and then I also went ahead and I kind of grabbed the car. I reloaded kind of what I was going to do for here. I think a better way of doing this is going to be interesting. So we're essentially going to have boards here. And we're going to use the shaved logs to kind of be our differences between sections. I'm going to go ahead and get rid of all this rock here. Now, on the reference image I see here, what they did is they actually covered this entire area with gravel. It's a Garden Railway image is what I'm looking at right now, so I understand why they did it, because it kind of looked weird, but it looks weirder, in my opinion, to have a full tunnel entrance with all that gravel there. It just isn't needed. Oddly enough, the model actually only has... It would have 4 of these going down, but I'm only going to do 3 because it actually ends up leveling right there perfectly with the land. So I think this is the best place to kind of stop this little project here. And then what we're going to do is we're going to replace all this kind of rock and dirt and clay and sand that's here with wood. Yes, get rid of that coal. Who needs coal? My goodness, it likes to rain a lot. Alright. Just gonna let it rain on my parade a bit, I guess. Oh, it's gonna get a very strong storm. Actually, give me a second. I think I'm gonna go, duck inside and take cover from the rain, and we'll come back when it's daylight. And there we go, the rain has stopped. Now, let's see. I'm gonna push these back a little bit. Grassifying done. Okay. Kind of makes a neat little like alcove here next to the tunnel. It ends this well enough and kind of gives us a nice place to yeah, so we're actually would mirror it on the other side now as well, and that gives us a nice little tunnel entrance in my opinion. Alright guys, and I went ahead and finished it up, and now we have it. It's a fully mirrored situation. It has a nice little circle around it, but this is now our tunnel entrance. It just goes straight into the tunnel from the cut. So it's a nice little interesting into the saga of the cut. You can even see it on the map. It makes a nice little hole here in what has essentially been this long-running cut. I don't know how I feel about it. I do know that I am very excited to kind of keep digging and building up this tunnel. I think we should probably do these extra sides, but it's going to be an entire project that I'm not sure how that's going to go. So I was thinking of maybe doing a time lapse, but the issue is, how do you do a time lapse with a tunnel? That's a weird thing. Like, if it was a time lapse of me building up this exterior shot, that would have been okay. But that's not what we're doing now. We're essentially building through the mountain. So in the end, I'm not entirely sure I'm going to do that, because A, the video inside is very dark. I think I'm just going to save you all the trouble of trying to see in the dark, and we'll come back after the tunnel is done. I'll show you what I've done to it and kind of show you where the track is going after this. So we'll be right back, guys. Alright. So if I've understood this correctly, there's a custom track ability. There's a lot of things I don't know. This is the first time I've really used a custom curve since they finished the update. Like, the custom curves were originally kind of... they weren't feature complete when I last used them. And I'm just wanting to go up one block. One block is all I want to go up. I should probably change the track that it's using, but... I kind of want to start using custom curves for some of my switches to try and get a smoother turn. Because right now the fixed ones, very easy to put together, do not offer the same amount of smoothness that the custom curves can potentially offer. Now, do the custom curves offer smoothness to a degree that I am desiring? I do not know. I am still kind of looking at that even right now. Right now, this is test 1. I wasn't expecting to do custom curves in this episode, but here we are. It's kind of weird seeing this like ghost track before us. The ghost train of 87. No, sorry. Where am I? Interesting. Will this be how this works? Have I just been being stupid? Potentially. It looks like potentially. Yeah, so... don't worry about this. This tunnel I made a mistake. It's okay. I will seal this tunnel up. We will never worry about that again. Alright, so now... So I've kind of worked through the night and I kind of tried to figure out some things. Seeing if that actually changes anything with a custom curve. With a custom curve, technically, you're telling where the track where it needs to go. I don't see it really changing much. I kind of just want to build it now. Let's just go ahead. We'll build it. We'll see how it looks. I think it's going to work out well. Ooh, right. We're going to use the wide because technically we're going up a block, so we need that ability for it to rise. Ooh, that's so nice and smooth. Oh! Oh no! That was nice! Alright, need to clean this up a bit. I've got a lot of area here that the track doesn't need to do, but that's a nice smooth curve. I am going to love that. But to better fill in the responsibility of this entire area, we need to just kind of... I don't want to say we need to... I'm going to change it to this, change it to that, get rid of that. Just going to use this to kind of help us clean up faster. Don't know if that means there's actually a track there. Might be, might not be. I'm going to go ahead and do this. Because that now allows us to essentially start cleaning up more. Yes, there was track there. There's track there too. Alright, so need to take this over to here essentially. We'll see. I'm actually thinking of maybe taking this design here and expanding it as far down along here as possible, having essentially a wooden wall keeping up the dirt and everything away from the track. We might go back to a normal cut over here a bit, but overall I think the cut that we have designed on this side of the tunnel is going to be a little bit less on this side. It's definitely something where we have kind of started changing what we're working on. Alright. So, let's see. So since this is going to end up looking a little bit different compared to the rest of the video so far, I'm actually going to go ahead and do another time lapse. That way you guys can kind of see the design coming together, as well as see the section returned from this into, well, a kind of buffeted, wood-walled, and cut section. If that makes sense. Alright guys, be right back. Enjoy the time lapse. There we are. As you can see with the time-lapse, I did a lot of work. Like, at first it didn't seem like a lot of things were getting changed, but then suddenly, as I kept going, man, did things really get to working. As you can see, this tunnel ended up coming out nice. I used these bare logs to kind of give it a good look, but let's just go check the curve, because actually, as I finished, I realized something. I had planned to have that curve take you up one block, Because I figured that was a long enough distance to be able to do that, to do the 1 block jump up, as well as kind of give us a bit of it would give the track a little bit of something extra, a little bit of an extra oomph. So I actually went back and I deleted the track and I redid it. Good news is, it ended up fitting in perfectly well. That 1 block jump is a very smooth change. You can barely see it from the distance. You only pretty much see it because of how much more you can see of the gravel. But as it comes up into the curve here, if you couldn't see the edge of the blocks, you probably wouldn't know that was going up 1 block. So that's a very good thing. That also means that we're now 1 block up, and we're going to have a little bit less of the cuts going to be needed. But the good news is, essentially, now our next big portion of this is going to be making this curve here to kind of get up to the next area. But I'm not going to focus on that. I'm going to focus on that next episode. Now that we've got out of the cut, essentially, we're going to end up focusing for the next episode, getting the track here to the bridge. Essentially, we're going to make another custom curve here to get it through here and back this direction. So it's going to be a bit of like an S-bend going through the area here. And then we're going to cross the river over next to this cliff, cross here, and then essentially follow the ground until we have the station here. That's the goal. But the other goal that I'm slowly working on is this road. I want this road to connect up to this town. It's not really a major piece. It's not something that has anything to do with the episodes in general, but I am going to slowly be doing that either in my own spare time or something else. I thought about making it part of these videos, but the more I thought about it, the less I kind of liked it, because it's just kind of... it's an extra piece. It isn't really needed. And I can't commit myself to doing that when we already have so much more to do. In fact, the main thing I want to go do right now is I want to go get the train and test this out. So give me 1 second and let's do that. Man, that was still really quiet. But, so bad news. I came over here and I decided, you know, I'm going to try and put in a custom curve there with our switch. Now, here's the issue with custom curves in this section. They actually don't like connecting up to pre-made switches that well in this section. If I had pretty much started with the custom curves, maybe it would have worked a bit better, but yeah, no, it didn't like it. It actually threw much more of a fit doing that. So we just left it as is, or put it back as was. And yes, essentially, here we are. We've got that going for us. So I'm just going to drive the train down to the new end of the track, and I'll think on maybe figuring out how to fix that and bring that back. There it is, guys. The tunnel's coming up. It's only going about 12 miles per hour, but you know, mainly I don't think the game could take me going much faster, actually, if I'm quite honest. Now we're in the tunnel. Smoke is filling up fast in here. There we are. We're out. Ooh. That's an interesting slowdown right there for an upward climb. I'm curious what this will look like when we end up actually having the train able to go full speed. I've been trying to figure out if there's a way for me to set up the trains to automatically run on their own for some lovely shots. But like the game has predicted, it tends to rain on my parade. Or if that thunder's anything to go by, a storm. I swear. Overall, I think that we got a lot done today. We got that entire cut through. We essentially went through this entire cut. We were able to get the track all the way up to here. We've also started an incline, which is going to be very necessary for the future. In fact, let's go take a look at the future. So while the world is loading in around us, I just kind of want to point out that we have a bunch of sheep here, and this is the river that I plan to cross. It's not a big one, but it is still a kind of a big location. It's going to be more than just a small step. So, gotta just quickly swim across. So this is where I'm planning to take the train across the river, and we're going to start heading towards the what I'm hoping to be the next station. Now, my main question that I have for myself for the station when we get there is this going to be an area where we also have a farm silo or a major freight stop? Because right now that other town, we don't really have much there. It's just a station and a water tower, and it keeps going through. But what do we plan to do here? This is a bit more of a farther away from the original. It could be a nice place to kind of have a farm stop for like a silos, picking up cars full of grain, and you know, that fun stuff. It's also got a bit of a stream here. This stream is kind of neat, and I kind of like it because it's something from this world generator, the world generator that is for this that I'm using, the TerraForged, I think is what it's called. Anyway, our train will end up crossing back across the creek, probably back there around that bend, and we'll end up coming across here and stopping at the station. Now, the other thought that I had originally, you may have noticed me looking at the map, was to build it through here. Now looking at it, it's a really tight gap that wouldn't work. Building it there, crossing the river, crossing the stream, and then coming into the station here is probably the best idea. Downside, this town does not have a lot of farming. I was kind of hoping it'd have more like farming areas to it, but it really does not. I mean, we can make more. We can make this have a large farming presence, but if anything, this seems more like potentially a stop-off point. This doesn't seem like we're going to have a lot of freight. Like maybe a baggage car and a boxcar, and that's all that would stop here for the passenger train. And they were going to just have to keep going along. I also need to see how far up I need to go, because this area is different. What was that? Is the train sliding? Oh my god, it's the train slowly sliding. I was like, that's the sound of the train. Oh my god, that scared me. Oh goodness, I was not ready for that. I was not ready for that at all. Anyway, a lot of that, I do kind of want to work on the town a bit over here. I do want to finish that station, but I do not believe that is a thing for this episode. That's something we'll just work on in the future. And yeah, there's a lot going on. There's a lot planned. I think episode 4, we've got a lot to work with. So thank you all for watching. I'm Silver. This has been Gaming in the Grove, and this has been Immersive Railroading in Minecraft. This mod adds big trains. I've also used a few other mods that I will get into on another date. For now, I just really want to thank you all for watching. For those of you who are still here, I can't wait to get working on the next episode to kind of get working and kind of see what ends up happening. All right. So thank you all for watching one more time, and yeah, see you next time, guys.